Now, Prime Minister's Question Time has a reputation for being rude and rowdy at the best of times. Yesterday, things got so heated, an entire group of Scottish politicians stormed out. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, Susanna.
Well, is this a huge sign of disrespect of our Parliament, or are you making a very important political point?
Yeah, no, it's actually very, very serious, something we feel very strongly about. We've had devolution in Scotland now for the best part of 20 years. That's enshrined by what was called the Scotland Act that came in 1998 that defines the powers that we have. And what's happening through the withdrawal bill is that Westminster is, to use the language that's often used, is taking back control in 24 areas. And what's happened in the Scottish Parliament, that my own party, the SNP, Labour, Liberal Democrats, Greens, have all refused to give a consent motion to what Westminster is doing. And we had a ludicrous situation that the amendments to the withdrawal bill that would have given effect to this were pushed through on Tuesday evening. There was a debate of less than 20 minutes, and no MP, other than the government minister, was able to speak in the debate.
So you feel that you're being overruled?
We're being overruled, and what I'd asked the Prime Minister to do, and I'd signalled this to the government beforehand, that I was asking her to bring forward emergency legislation that would have allowed us to look at this properly and due respect to being given to the Scottish Parliament. And what I'd done under the rules of the House of Commons, I used a device to ask for the House to sit in private, which I was entirely entitled to do, and what the Speaker should have done is allowed that to be put to the vote at that moment.
Unfortunately, you haven't had very much support over this, have you? I mean, obviously amongst your own members, because they all joined you in the walkout. But Tim Farron, the former leader of the Lib Dems, tweeted, "You pulled a daft stunt and you silenced yourself." He says, "I speak from experience. We tried the same choreographed hissy fit," he calls it, once, back over the Lisbon Treaty in 2008. And he says, in his own words, "We looked as shallow and pointless then as you do today."
My goodness. That sounds rather...
Do you feel a bit shallow and pointless?
Not at all, no, because it is a serious matter that we were raising. I mean, if the
vote had taken place...
It is a serious
matter, and you explained it this morning very well, but yesterday, that didn't get explained, did it? What it looked like was a big stunt to create drama.
Yeah, but see, it wasn't a stunt, because my colleagues were not aware of what was going to take place. And when the SNP MPs came out and followed me out the chamber, that wasn't planned. That was absolutely spontaneous. But I think it was a signal of the anger that's there. People are very angry in Scotland. And in fact, if I look at what's happened over the course of the rest of the day, we've gained nearly 2,000 new members. So this actually has got resonance with
people have liked
people in
seeing
Scotland.
You take that action.
Yeah, there is a change.
There are other parts of the country, though, aren't there, that aren't happy with the situation. Wales wasn't happy. They managed to form a deal in April, which meant that the powers would be devolved, but then after 7 years maximum, they would get it back.
How come they can get a deal, but you can't?
Yeah, but you see, but this is the issue, because it comes back again to the Scotland Act. And the Scotland Act said that areas such as fishery, agriculture, environment are devolved. What's happening is that Westminster is legislating without the consent of the Scottish people and without the consent of the Scottish Parliament. And what the UK government still needs to do is recognise there's an issue here. They have to sit down with the First Minister, sit down with myself, and let's see if we can actually come up with a deal where we can work together on frameworks across the UK where it's appropriate to do so, but they must respect the Scottish Parliament. That's not just the SNP.
Actually,
every party in Scotland is saying that.
Are you using Brexit and the vulnerability of the Prime Minister at the moment really to do some political troublemaking? Because obviously, ultimately, what you want is independence.
I'm a reasonable person.
Independence, which in the referendum you lost.
Well, we lost the referendum in 2014. I absolutely acknowledge that. And we all said at the time we respected that result. But we were told at that point that if we stayed within the UK, that our future as part of Europe was also going to be secure.
But Nicola Sturgeon recommitted on our programme last week, and again, that she actually is pushing for it. So you might have sort of accepted it, but you still want it. And this was a perfect opportunity to create an event which made people think, right, come on, they're taking away our powers under that settlement. We need independence.
We are in what are very challenging times, and we have to get through the Brexit process. What we did in the Scottish election in 2016, we said to the Scottish people, if you elect us back into government, that we want to have the right to go back to you and have a discussion on Scotland's constitutional future if there's a material change in circumstances. But we said, let's get through Brexit first. Then we'll have that debate with the Scottish people. Of course we want to stay in Europe. Scotland voted to stay in Europe, and we want to stay in the single market and the customs union. That's what we will argue for.
Yeah.